So yep, that's a whole lot of dick. Just all over the place. Red Rocket is brought to us by director Sean Baker and stars Simon Rex, Brie Elrod, and Susanna Sun. Mikey Saber is a washed-up porn star who returns to his small Texas hometown. Not that anyone really wants him back though. So Red Rocket is a little comedy that is pretty much what the synopsis said. We have Mikey Saber, played by Simon Rex, who was a porn star but has fallen on hard times. So he decides to go back to his small hometown in Texas for reasons. Probably because he just didn't have anywhere else to go, honestly. Mikey is a self-absorbed shyster. He is constantly looking back at the good old days and saying how he's gonna get back to it. Also, pretty much everything that comes out of his mouth is total, utter bullshit. We've all met somebody like him. You know the type. Somebody who, as they're talking, you're just thinking to yourself, you know, about 90% of what you're saying is absolute horseshit, and the other 10% that's actually true, you're stretching that out. He latches on to people that look up to him and subscribe to his bullshit and think that he's some type of like super famous star or something, because he's just not. He's a sad schlop. He's a loser. However, Simon Rex as Mikey does come across as extremely likable at times. You really want this guy to succeed in bettering his life, and it does seem like that's why he came back to his hometown, was to kind of get back to his roots and take his life in a new direction. And the movie really plays with that a lot. Like in the beginning when he goes and he's trying to talk his ex-wife, actually current wife, they never got divorced, but he shows back up at her house and tries to get her to take him in just so he has a place to stay. You can tell then that everything he's spouting is just a lie. But then as time goes on, it seems like he may actually want to be starting to do better for himself. Some of the ways he goes about doing it may not be the smartest or the best ways to actually better yourself in life, but he's doing better. He is actually becoming a somewhat functioning part of society. I mean, he essentially becomes a drug dealer, but you know, he's kind of a nice drug dealer. He's not like some hardcore drug dealer going around and breaking people's legs. He's just trying to make a buck and make it by. And it's at this point that you really want him to succeed. It seems like he and his estranged wife, Lexi, played by Brie Elrod, are starting to work things out. It seems like things might actually start to be coming together for Mikey. But then enters Strawberry, played by Susanna Sun. Now what transpires for the rest of the film between Strawberry and Mikey is a bit hard to describe. It's not really hard to describe, it's hard to decipher. On one hand, it seems like Mikey is up to his old ways, and some of these old ways are really not cool. It seems like he is bordering on grooming a young person here. But on the other hand, it seems like Mikey may have found true happiness. He may actually have real feelings for this girl and wants to bring her into this world that he's used to. Now, this world he's used to, you know, dependent upon who you are, has its issues, i.e. the porn industry. However, you know, if they're willing participants and they're happy and they're not hurting anybody, to each his own, do your thing. And this was one of the most interesting parts of the movie because I couldn't totally get my head around at any given time what Mikey's motivations were. Are they just solely on him? Is he using this young girl? Is he essentially grooming her? Or does he really have feelings for her? Does he want to do all these things he's actually saying? It's really hard to tell because Mikey is such a good fucking con man. You can't really believe anything that comes out of his mouth, and that goes for the performance by Simon Rex. Rex was absolutely sensational here. He was phenomenal. He did a fantastic job. You believe him as Mikey, and Mikey, one minute you think is one of the biggest shitbags on earth, and the next minute you're really rooting for him, and you really like the guy, and he's kind of lovable, and you want him to succeed so bad. And that's essentially what this movie is. This guy who is on a road to redemption, but we're never 100% sure if he's 100% committed to that road to redemption. I know I'm making this thing sound like it's really super deep, and honestly it is. It's a lot deeper than it seems. But something else this movie is funny as hell. I found myself laughing out loud multiple times throughout this film. Now some of the comedy in it is pretty dark. Now it's really biting comedy, and some Some of it, some people would probably consider mean-spirited comedy, but it is funny nonetheless. Now, the one thing about the movie that even people that enjoy the movie and its tone and everything might have an issue with will be the ending. It is absolutely an ambiguous ending. The movie does give you some hints and throw some things out there to give you an idea of the direction that they were headed in, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it is up to you to decide what happens in the very end of this movie. This experiment does not always work when movies try it, but I will say that with Red Rocket, while it wasn't like a resounding success, I don't think, it was still pretty good. I didn't mind this ending. I was okay with it. We get things that transpire in the ending of the movie. It's just the actual result, the thing that happens in the very, very, very end of the movie is left up in the air. There's not a lot more I could say concerning the story of this movie without ruining something. Just know that this movie was a great time. And when you have a comedy that clocks in over 2 hours long, you start to kind of wonder, is it going to be able to sustain an interesting, funny plot throughout? Yes, this one absolutely does. Performance-wise, as I've already mentioned, Simon Rex as Mikey was fantastic. Every time this guy is on screen, which is the vast majority of this movie, he sells it and he is giving it 100%. He is great in this role. But he's not the only one. Brie Elrod as his ex, Lexi, she's fantastic as well. And while Mikey does come across as a bit of a shitbag for part of the movie, she's not perfect either. She definitely has her issues, especially as the movie goes on. You find out a lot more about all of these characters, but hers and Mikey specifically, neither of them are saints by a long stretch. And Elrod did a fantastic job of showing us that yes, she's done some bad things, and she does some fucked up things in this movie, but she was still a sympathetic character. Much like Simon Rex's, her performance allowed us to 1 minute really hate this character, and the next minute truly feel for her. That's a really tough thing to do in a movie, to like have a character that you really dislike and then genuinely turn it around and you like the character, just to flip it around again a couple of times. And also, the way that the movie does this with its characters is genuine. It doesn't ever do it in some cheap ass way that you feel like, yeah, that was bullshit. You just held some information back so as to spring it on me at the last minute to make me view this person differently. No, we see this all through actions, and these actions don't seem out of character or anything. These are some genuine, believable, likable, and at sometimes unlikable performances that I really enjoyed watching all the way through. And while pretty much every performance in the film was pretty great, honorable mention on top of the two I already mentioned has to go to Judy Hill as Mikey's drug dealer. She's not in the movie a lot, but when she is there, she is a presence. I thoroughly enjoyed Hill's performance every time she was on screen. She was a joy to watch, and every time the story veered over to her little neck of the woods, I was super excited that she was going to be on screen for just a few minutes. Guys, Red Rocket was a really entertaining little comedy drama. It can be a bit dark in its humor and does flirt with mean-spirited humor at times, but if you're okay with that, you'll find some truly funny as hell moments here. The story was a great watch overall, though the ending is going to leave some feeling a bit unfulfilled. In all, we got some great performances, but Rex and Elrod really sold the show. They are fantastic. And while this might not be one that you rush out to theaters to see, it is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
I had a great time with this funny as hell, biting little comedy. So if you can get down with some of the darker humor in it, then check out Red Rocket one night, and I think you're gonna have a really entertaining time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Red Rocket. If you enjoyed, want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Khan. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Texas City.
I'm not afraid to fight you. I don't give a... What the fuck?
He sucker punched me. I would 100% out cardio that guy. Fuck. Sorry for swearing.
So you may be wondering why this movie is titled Red Rocket. I know I was at first. That is until about the final third of the film. There is a part where our main character, who is an ex-porn star I might add, is found running across town butt-ass naked, and the movie is not shy about showing all that he's got going on, and that is when you find out why this movie is called Red Rocket. So yeah, get ready for that.